All right, what's going on, everybody? It is the week of Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, the most American holiday that you can celebrate. We're going to be on the air here today. We're going to be on the air here tomorrow. And then everybody's got places to be, things to cook. Well, we got a great show for you lined up. We're going to talk a little bit about Ukraine, the war in Ukraine. We haven't really heard about that in a while. Is it going to end? I'm not really sure. I mean, I feel like we've been here and done that many times at this point. Is Zelensky going to accept the peace plan? Is he not going to accept the peace plan? Also, James Comey's indictment and Letitia James' indictments were thrown out without prejudice, so they can bring them back. But I mean, this is lawfare. You know, if you're going to get a conviction on somebody like James Comey, you're going to have to go through the corrupt court system. And so we'll see. I mean, we'll get Rob's thoughts on that. But anyway, the show starts right now.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, folks. Again, happy holidays. Can we say Merry Christmas yet? That would be my first question. Can we say Merry Christmas yet, even though it's not Thanksgiving? Rob.
Well, there are some people who started it as soon as Halloween was over, right?
Yes, that's true.
They started, put up their decorations and all of that stuff. We have not done that. We've got some fall stuff out at our house, but this week is we're there. We're ready for it. Obviously, glad to be back. I feel like it's been forever. Like, I mean, we had. Eric and I had a show together. But
yeah. Oh, by the way, I haven't personally thanked you or on the air and publicly, but thank you for learning all of this software
Paul,
and doing it.
Learning? We're going to go quote unquote learning. Listen, it was awful. I was trying to figure all this stuff out, and I was just like, where's Paul? I need Paul here. Because, like, if we were to ever take a camera view of what you're looking at with all the buttons and all that stuff that you dealt with, and I was just like, I don't know what it is, and I did my best, and then basically I figured it out where it was like, all right, so this one takes me to Eric, and this one takes me back to myself, and I'm just going to go with that, and that's just how we figured it out.
Well, so we did like a crash course tutorial the day before, and then I'm driving back, from the dentist, which was 3.5 hours away, and you call about 10 minutes before air and just kind of go over everything,
right.
And I was just kind of like, I had bunch of gauze stuffed up in my mouth.
It was so funny.
Trying to stop the bleeding, but you guys did it.
Well, and I just said, hey, can you give me all the details, like how to do it and the list and all that stuff? You're like, hey, no problem. And he sent it, and it was like this laundry, like it looked like Santa's Christmas list here. It was brutal, but
I tried to be thorough.
We made it through. Yeah, but just to the point of the title of it, we're talking about the end of this Ukraine-Russia war, which cannot go on forever, right? This is not this 40-year war because Russia has an agenda, and if anybody is so naive to believe that Vladimir Putin was just going to tuck his tail and go on back, right? Like he wasn't going to get land from this. He wants to, what do you want to call it? Like reinvigorate the former USSR. Like this guy was former KGB. He remembers the quote unquote good old days, right? If you think that he was going to just tuck his tail and go back to Russia there and not have something to show for it, you're naive. That's not how the world works. You can say all of this crap that you want to. And unfortunately, Ukraine is now faced with the decision. How much of this do we give up? And from all indications, it's something like 20% of their country, right?
Yeah.
If that's what the proposal is.
I mean, the proposal keeps changing. There was 28 points. Now I think that they're talking about it that it's 18. But yeah, to your point, I mean this entire exercise is just from a basic like civilizational nation state standpoint. When countries go to war and they sacrifice blood and treasure, they're going to want something for that. And this has been, millions of people are dead, Ukrainians, Russians alike. I mean, the death toll is catastrophic. Mm-hmm. I mean, the issue at play here, though, that I mean, my belief of it is, Europe and really NATO and the West really don't want to take the L. But short of a world war where everyone gets involved, Ukraine is never and never was going to be able to stop the Russians, right? That was never going to happen.
No.
But now you have some people thinking that Europe needs a war, that there are European forces, even forces within the Wall Street Journal, that are not wanting to put out how corrupt Zelensky is or officials are there. And that's because Europe, a lot of times wars stimulate economies, is the thought. And I could be wrong about this. Europe's economies are not in good shape. Europe's economies are collapsing. And so there's this thought that they actually want this conflict with Russia to be prolonged. I actually think it's even more insidious because I think Ukraine is such a money laundering depot, a money laundering operation for, not just the American uniparty, but also Europe. And I think there's I have this sneaking suspicion that it actually goes all the way to rigging elections in European countries. And again, I don't really have any basis for that. It's just one of those intuition things. But I love it. We live in the world where you can just say things.
Yeah.
So,
we live in the country where you can just say
Yeah, that's true. That's true. For now.
Well, I mean, you look at it and try to say, like, and it's in the title of the show today, does Zelensky have Ukraine's best interest at heart, or does he have his own interest at heart? Because what we've seen here is that Zelensky would be out of office if this war was not going on, right? So if the war ends, there will be elections, right? That was even part of one of the things.
Yeah, part of the points.
Right. And so if this war ends, there will be elections. And so Zelensky, by all accounts, we assume, right? Like, who can trust polling data, from Ukraine, to your point there with the corruption. But if Zelensky is, removed from office here, who knows? Yeah. Who knows, right? Is it going to be the party, that puts forth a candidate that just says, in the war, let's keep this war at bay, let's work with Vladimir Putin here rather than just being an adversary and just kind of putting our foot down about it? Or is, let's just be honest about it and have a gloves off moment? Is Zelensky even making the decisions?
Yeah.
Is he the puppet and there are puppeteers saying,
of course,
this is what it's going to be? So who the heck knows?
I think you're exactly right. Here's what Marco Rubio said over the weekend. Take a listen.
The report today is that I think today was worthwhile. It was very, very. It is probably the most productive day we have had on this issue. Maybe in the entirety of our engagement, but certainly in a very long time. But work remains, and because this continues to be a working process, I don't want to declare victory or finality here. There's still some work to be done, but we are much further ahead today at this time than we were when we began this morning, and where we were a week ago for certain.
All right, so the Guardian. So we'll go to a European source here.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, 6 or 7 hours ago at this point, but they're saying, okay, so Ukraine has made significant changes to the U.S. peace plan. Sources say some of Russia's maximalist demands have been removed from the 28-point proposal, according to this report.
Mm-hmm.
And it even says that Zelensky may meet with Donald Trump at the White House later this week, according to this report. It says during negotiations in Sunday in Switzerland, led by the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Zelensky's chief of staff said the plan was substantially revised. It now includes only 19 points down from the 28. Kiev and its European partners say the existing front line has to be a starting point for territorial discussions. They say there can be no recognition of land seized by Russia's military, and that Kiev should make its own decisions. Which that means there won't be any peace.
Yes.
Because Putin is not going to give up this nice buffer zone that he's paid for with blood.
Right. You think he's just going to back his troops out of there? I already got this. I've already got it.
Yeah.
This now belongs to Russia. You think he's just going to back out of there and be like, you know what? You can have it back. You know what? It's not going to happen, folks. And ultimately it is how much of this is he content with this? Because if he's not content with it, how much more does he want?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that as being an access point to the Black Sea does he have what he wants?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, because Russia took over Crimea in 2014. I mean, in the past with these back and forths, Zelensky saying they want Crimea back. That's certainly not going to happen.
Lord have mercy. That is the last place that he would give up, in my opinion.
Exactly.
When you think about defenses, when you think about trade routes, when you think about what Crimea means to Russia. You're a fool if you believe that he's just going to submit that willingly.
There was one part in here about Trump's frustration with the whole deal, but I don't see it now. Oh, yeah, talks would be a long-lasting process, the Polish minister said. There were talks. President Trump, no, there was, anyway, Trump is obviously upset with ungrateful Zelensky.
Yeah, of course.
Is what he said on Truth Social.
The bottom line here, Paul, and you and I both know, that if the United States pulls out and just says the fountain is off, like we've closed up the spigot here, and there is no more money. There's no more money coming. If that happens, then it is left to the European nations on whether they will step in.
Yeah,
and we've seen the spineless European Union here when they look at things and say, oh, Ukraine deserves this and Ukraine deserves that and all of that stuff. Yeah. And you're just like, okay, where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
And the majority is coming from the United States. So if that fountain is turned off, what does Ukraine have left? Yeah. Hope that the European nations step up and say, hey, well, we're going to step in where the United States has left off. Or are they going to say, you know what, Donald Trump's right. Maybe you need to sign that peace agreement.
Yeah, and let's not forget, they're still buying oil from the Russians.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, it doesn't make any sense.
Trump, he was laughed at when he said that.
Why would you do that? And then, of course, Nord Stream under Biden, which, was the West. I mean, the Ukraine or we, collectively whoever specifically that was. Yeah. But it wasn't Russia. It wasn't, they
didn't blow up their own pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were told, like we're total morons.
Oh, they blew it up, They blew it up. You know what? You're a fool if that's what you believe.
No, absolutely.
What the bottom line is, do you look at it and say, will this war end without Ukraine ceding land to the Russians? And if you are a rational person, you know that that's not going to happen.
That's right.
Okay? Number 2, what are the motivations to keeping this going? Can we sign some sort of an agreement? And maybe NATO needs to get involved here. Mm-hmm. And maybe NATO is. I haven't read through this. But maybe NATO has to get involved and say, you know what? We're going to encourage Ukraine and Zelensky to sign this agreement, provided that XYZ.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do this in the future, whatever.
Right. Ukraine will never be a member of NATO because
Correct.
That's the biggest sticking point. That's the whole reason why. Well, that's one of the reasons why the invasion happened in the first place, according to the Russians.
When you look at how many countries have joined NATO that are closer to Russia since they were told we're not coming further east.
Yeah.
I am not a Russian sympathist here. Sympathizer. Thank you. Sympathist. Sympathizer. I'm not a Russian sympathizer here, but I'm trying to say, like, wait a minute. We were told you're not coming further east than, and I forget what it was. I watched a person talking about it. It was like in the 90s under Bill Clinton. NATO will not come any further than this, and they did.
Over and over.
And now they're knocking on Russia's doorstep.
Yeah.
And Russia's like, I don't trust any of you.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't trust me? I don't trust any of you. And now you keep knocking closer and closer, and the United States has its claws in Ukraine.
Yeah. You get real I think, you've got a lot of people, the people that were all like putting the Ukrainian flags in their profile pics and everything else back when all that was the rage or whatever. But this is actually how countries, like, I feel like we've been raised in this period where nations are not acting the way they normally act for thousands of years. You know, what's going on right now in Russia and Ukraine is how nations have behaved.
Sure.
You know, not in this little 70-year period after World War II, but over this course of human history. This is what happens. You know, when you have skirmishes, you know, land changes hands. That's just what happens. And for some people, that's just so unnerving. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we got into whatever you want to call it, a skirmish, a disagreement with our neighbors, either to the north or to the south, do you think we don't end up with part of their territory?
You would think.
I mean,
who knows with the Mexican drug cartels? I mean, we may be testing this theory very soon, or with Venezuela,
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
But here, I fully believe that Zelensky, as I believe that he was put into the place that he is. I believe that he is a person who was lauded as this, just, you know, he was propped up. Mm-hmm. He was propped up as this person who is just this, you know, he's the bravest person in the world and all of that. But he was just trying to say, well, you know, we have to win. We have to beat Russia. You cannot beat Russia, Ukraine. You can't do it. The only way that you could do it is if you had an enormous amount of help, and they've been given help over the past 4 years.
And nobody wants to go to nuclear war over this conflict.
Correct, right? And Putin had floated that out there, right? But Trump is signaling like, hey, you know what? The deal is near, right? The final deal, well, how am I trying to say this? The end is near of this war, and the deal is on the table. And he was asked, what if Zelensky doesn't accept that? And he, in no certain terms, said, well, then he's going to have to fight this battle alone.
Exactly.
And I think that all of us who are America First are sitting there saying, well, that's what we've been screaming for the last 4 years.
Yeah, and I would add, you know, from my standpoint, Trump should have defunded this whole operation from day one, and we wouldn't even be here right now.
You're so spot on, Paul. 100%.
So, folks, we got a great rest of the show for you. We're going to talk about this James Comey indictment. Also, we're going to talk about this Democrat congresswoman that was indicted for stealing a bunch of COVID funds. We got a great show rest, but we're going to take just a small break before we go any further. And we're going to talk to our good friend Matt Troy, who's from Red Vive Health. Matt, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Yeah, great show as always.
Hey, brother, I appreciate it. Here's the deal. I'm going to put all three of us up on the screen together right now. All right, so here's the deal, because here is the deal. Okay, Black Friday is coming up, and so right now we are offering the listeners of the show 40% off these life-enhancing, I think life-saving, red light therapy panels over at redvivehealth.org/Paul. And for the first time, as I see in the background there, the red light is, you've actually got a machine back there and it's turned on. What can you tell us?
Yep, and because it's the holidays week and we are working from home this week, I'm in my home office, and my 10-year-old daughter is out of school with her two friends. So we're going to have them help model and showcase these. I thought it'd be kind of cool so people know how to use the devices properly. You can't just, I mean, the science and everything is great, but if you're using it with, 18 to 20 inches away and you're not doing it the proper amount of time and those things, you don't get the best results, as you know, Paul. Because you do it every day, and it's something that you want to do daily. But for those of you listeners that haven't seen me before or know about us, I've been on the show several times. We've talked about the background and how we created this, and we have very limited time today because Paul was generous enough to squeeze me in today so that we could make sure everybody knew that we're going 40% off between now and Black Friday. And by the way, since I haven't been on here, and I know you only gave me 10 minutes, I'm just going to jump right to it.
Do it, man.
But yes, you got to use it properly. So it does. Let me just list the main reasons people use this. For sleep, because your body creates its own melatonin through using specific wavelengths of light to help you sleep. And that's what we've designed this. The 4 wavelengths of light are supposed to help you sleep, reduce pain with no pills. You feel it instantly. It interacts with your TRPV1 receptors to dull the pain, so it reduces pain significantly. Everybody, I'm sure, experiences pain. And then there's some very good anti-aging effects that happen cellularly. But you got to be able to get the light and the power into the tissue and actually get down deep into the tissue. And so you have to be the right distance away. So you want to be within 12 to 6 inches. And I have, this is actually not my daughter. She was a little too shy to be the model. So I've got her friend modeling here, but they're holding up the background. So
I got you.
This is the Red Vibe 300. I don't know if you see this
Okay,
here.
that's the model that I have right there.
Yeah, and actually I'm going to have my daughter be the cameraman here a little bit. If you can bring this over so I can show. So this is the side. You kind of have the timer. It sets the timer here. This is for joint pain, muscle pain, sleep, and they have all these different settings and times. And so you want to make sure you dose it properly for what you're using it for. It'll work great for everything, even if you just do it for 20 or 30 minutes. But you're going to sleep better if you just do it for 15 minutes before you go to bed versus 30. You do it too much, and it can have some diminishing returns. There's no nice thing about this is it's not like, and Big Pharma hates me for saying this, is it's not like pills. There's no bad side effects. It's just light. There's no UV rays in this, so it's not going to burn you. But this is...
so it can go there, yeah. So you can twist so it can go parallel across the bed.
Parallel. And if you, good job, baby. Let's say, and you go, so this is about the distance that you want to be, and it covers almost the full length of her body. Now, if you want to hit your knees too, and you want to switch it, you can kind of tilt it like this.
Yeah.
Is that, sweetheart? Just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I will say this from my standpoint, as somebody who has one of these machines, the brightness, and Rob, you can attest to this as well. The brightness that we're seeing on camera is nothing compared to actually being in the room.
Right.
And that's actually a good thing.
Sure.
You might think that's a bad thing, but that's actually a good thing.
And so that's the distance away. Now, please keep in mind, guys, that when you are using this, obviously this is it doesn't go through clothing, so we're just modeling this here. But you want to be in a private room. You need to have bare skin, and even if you have like thick lotions on and things like that, it's not as effective. So try to shower before you use it, and it'll get 2 inches deep into your tissue and reduce inflammation. Build collagen synthesis, all these wonderful things. Now, we do have, for those of you, you're probably all wondering about price. You can go online. If the middle one with your discount, it's $25.99. You take 40% off of that. So I don't know, Paul, if you do the quick math.
Yeah, you basically save $1,039 off of that unit if you use the promo code Paul.
And then this is the smaller one. So this is the one that I kind of use sometimes under my desk on my feet. And this one is just, let's see here. This is actually $9.99, but you get $400 off with this.
Yep, with the discount.
And just a perspective, it's normally 15% off. So if you guys can take advantage of it. But one other thing that we really wanted you to notice, I don't think you can tell because the camera picks up the near infrared, but half of these LEDs look like they're not on because they're near infrared. And so when you get those near infrared are the longer wavelengths of light, kind of like UV rays are really short and powerful and can burn you. The longer wavelengths are very strong, powerful, and they go 2 inches deep into the tissue. They're not going to burn you or hurt you in any way, but half of them are beyond the visible spectrum. So when you get your panel, you'll notice like on the 300, half of the lights. It's interesting though, Paul, it shows them all lit up because the camera can see the near infrared, but
yeah.
So, and then this particular panel, it's kind of like I'm sitting in this chair right now here. It'll go all directions, right? So you can't, let me see if I can. Yeah. So this goes straight up and down. This would just blind you if I get it into the camera, though.
Yeah, it does. But anyway, I'm really glad that we got the demonstration, Matt, because I wanted people to see it, and also it's Thanksgiving, so again, happy Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving holiday, Merry Christmas. If you're looking for something to buy, this is something that I mean, this thing will last for a decade or more. I mean, that's the kind of quality here.
Yeah, 100,000 hours we have on this thing. So if you're doing it, you shouldn't probably do it more than 30 minutes a day. It's about diminishing returns after that. So I do a microdose of 15 in the morning, 15 at night. You do the math. That should last you at least 10 years before you have one LED go out. So,
there you go.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. I just had I turned my ankle, sprained my ankle while I was trail running. This has been a little over a month ago. And, I told Paul, I was like, man, I can't even drive my vehicle because it was my right foot. Like you get kind of used to driving with the same foot. And he's like, hey, let me bring this red light over there and you can give it a shot. So he came over there. The swelling, I cannot even describe to you how much reduced that swelling was just after one use with this red light therapy. And so I kept on it. You let me have it, basically for about a week.
Yeah.
Is that about? Yeah. And of course, ankle's totally fine now. And that was a month ago. And it was a bad
It was
sprain.
bad. I mean, it was like a softball.
Yeah.
On the side of your leg.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. The it's great for the feet, like even the small one, because it has a swivel stand that it comes with. So it's just all one, but and then you stick your foot kind of like underneath it here, and it you just sit right there. So I do that with my feet under my. I stubbed my toe really bad the other day, and because it also could you tell the pain went away while you were using it?
No, it felt great. Yep. It was the first relief that I had, and I'd turned my ankle, the day before. So,
well, there you go.
It's dulling. So all pain is a signal being sent to your brain saying, hey, I'm in pain right now. So if you can dull those signals, the signal gets dulled, and then your brain doesn't receive that signal as strongly. And so that's what it's doing. So it's not like ice, where when you put ice on something and try to reduce the inflammation by putting ice on it, and then it numbs it, but then the pain comes back. What's happening when you did that is it's actually interfering with the signals itself because those wavelengths of light. And then if you actually put it on your face too afterwards, there's a calming effect, and your brain will receive the pain signals in a different way. So you get pain two ways. You get a signal being sent to the brain, and then the brain says, oh, okay, I got your signal. I'm receiving that pain, and this is what I'm going to register it as pain. So you can actually, it's really amazing technology. You dull it on both ends, and then you don't need pain pills. So
Matt Troy, Red Vive Health, we appreciate it, sir. Really appreciate the demonstration. I hope the audience enjoyed it. And again, it's redvivehealth.org/Paul. The holiday sale with my name, Paul. You're going to receive 40% off everything you guys have. So I would encourage everybody to go out there if you want to support what we're doing. This is a great way to do it, and also to get healthy. And I would put this right in the Make America Healthy Again agenda. So, Matt, we appreciate it, sir. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Paul. And just so you know, that number, too, just so if they have questions and things, they can call that number.
844-RED-VIVE. That's right, 844-RED-VIVE. I'll throw it up over my head again. It's kind of misplaced, but that's my fault. 844-RED-VIVE. All right, brother, we'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, guys.
Yes,
so much.
sir. All right. So, I'm glad that you had a good experience. I felt like when I dropped the red light off to your house, I kind of felt like a modern day version of Dr. Quinn, medicine woman.
Yeah.
Like
I've got you, buddy. Yeah. No, anyway. It was great. It was great. My wife did not care for the glow in the room, right? It's intense.
Oh, yeah.
And he's right. So, it looked like it was all lit up red, but it's not. It's like every other bulb, but the camera, like he said, is picking
we
it up.
We keep it in our spare bedroom, and that's where, the family uses it. And but at nighttime, you light up. If those blinds aren't, you look like you're running a brothel or something.
Yeah. It's definitely intense for sure.
Okay, so let's get to this story. This broke last week. This is
I can't imagine FEMA was filled with fraud. I can't even imagine.
I know, right? Democratic Florida Representative Sheila Cheerfillis, is that how you say it? Or is it Kerfilis? Cheerfillis.
Doesn't matter.
Cheerfullis.
McCormick.
Okay, Sheila McCormick accused of stealing $5 million in FEMA funds.
No.
She was hit with a federal indictment last week on Wednesday, accusing her of stealing $5 million in FEMA funds.
Yeah.
Cheerfulous McCormick, who has been under investigation by the House Ethics Committee since December, was indicted by a federal grand jury in Miami and faces up to 53 years in prison.
In what kind of prison, Paul? Federal prison.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you don't want to be in federal prison.
This is true.
And just so you know, if you're not aware, federal sentences are 100%.
Yes, unless you get a pardon.
Well, unless you get something like that. But.
The Justice Department alleges that Cheerfulous McCormick, 46, and several co-defendants, including her brother, Edwin Cheerfulous, 51, conspired to steal an overpayment of $5 million in FEMA funds their family health care company received in July of 2021 as part of COVID-19 vaccination staffing contract. The defendants allegedly routed the funds through multiple accounts to disguise its source and used a substantial portion of the misappropriated funds as candidate contributions to McCormick's 2021 congressional campaign. Cheerfulous McCormick and other co-defendant, Nadege LeBlanc, 46, further schemed to utilize straw donors to contribute the stolen money to the Florida Democrats' campaign.
Like basically fake people,
Right,
you just
yes.
or it's one person donates like 27 times and then you go talk to the person, they're like, I've never donated to anything.
Yes, or they were, and I think this also talks about they actually went to real people, gave them cash, and then from the donations they were expected to tithe a portion of the cash to the campaign.
Sure,
basically. Okay. So she's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
There are calls for her to resign, but guess what? I mean, that's not going to happen.
She's not going to. Is she a Democrat or Republican?
She is a Democrat. Yeah, here she
go.
is. And
hate to say it, but I was rooting for that.
Here she is. Take a listen to this. The audio's kind of quiet, so I'm going to have to really bump up the gain here. But this is her reaction to being indicted. Oh, sorry.
Indictment, and it seems like his intimidation
Let me
tactics have been
back it up a little bit
pervasive.
because the audience didn't hear what I had. I didn't have
Thoughts on the indictment, please.
Well, it's an unjust indictment, and it seems like his intimidation tactics have been pervasive. We spent all week seeing different members getting censured, all in hopes of intimidating and kind of distracting from the Epstein files. And I look forward to my day in court so I can prove myself and actually state the truth. But if this is what Congress is becoming, where they're always trying to intimidate you, scare tactics, especially attacking minorities, black and brown people, then we're going to have to keep fighting for the district. And everybody has been giving me so much support, and we're going to keep fighting until the district gets what it needs, which is fair prices, housing, and fair representation in Congress.
Did
so
you
thank you
use
so much.
improperly?
So that was a kind of a predictable response. If you didn't know she was a Democrat before, you certainly know now. She's
Sure,
saying she
yeah.
was indicted because she's black.
Oh,
Rob.
man. Yeah. You know what, Paul? That's what I thought. I thought when I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, you funneled $5 million of FEMA money into, yourself and your campaign and all of that stuff. It's because you're black or any minority, right? That's what it is, folks. It's not that you actually did it. It's not that you stole $5 million from taxpayers, payers allegedly. It's that you're black, and we've seen all these censures and all that. She's looking forward to her day in court.
I wonder how much money she's made since then. So to take taxpayer money, funnel it to yourself, get elected, and then of course we know what their stock portfolios do. You know what I mean? So it's not just $5 million. I mean, she's
Sure.
used it to steal a bunch of other money.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Or steal is a loose term there, but you know what I mean. Enrich yourself.
Yeah, you're enriching yourself by staying in power, and you have allegedly stolen $5 million of taxpayer funds, and that federal prison that you are going to go to if you are convicted, that's not going to be a kind place for you. No matter what the color of your skin is.
Yeah.
And so we're all tired of it. Like this is not just something new, Paul. We're all tired of the age-old adage of like you can't trust a politician. There's a reason you can't. Like there's a reason that became a saying, right? Because of the corruption. You have too much power. And the checks and balances just don't truly exist, because the checks and balances on the legislative branch is either the executive branch through veto or the judicial branch through some sort of lawsuits or some sort of injunction and all of that stuff. And we see that there's corruption there too, right? And so we see Joe Biden writing preemptive pardons. Like, if you've got so much corruption there, then you two dudes here in Arkansas, like, what chance do we have?
Yeah.
Right? And so we've seen this. We've seen it a million times. And I for one love seeing them getting called out, regardless of what happens.
Well, I agree. I guess this would be a good time to actually skip over a few stories and get right into the James Comey thing, because, we were all talking about, this indictment. Yeah, she's been indicted, this Democratic congressperson, a criminal's going to jail, and she very well may go to jail because no one's ever heard of her. But then you get this story out of Zero Hedge, and, it's just frustrating that this is where we're at. And I was really trying I was trying very hard today not to black pill over this particular news.
Well,
because again, my overall thesis here is, if you're not able to hold these people to account, then it's really, really bad for the rest of us when the Democrats get back in power.
Well, I agree with all of that, Paul. One thing that is interesting is that this federal judge was appointed by Clinton in the 90s. Now, does that mean she's wrong? No, I don't necessarily mean that doesn't mean that she's necessarily wrong based off of who appointed her. It doesn't mean that they're right based off of who appointed them. But I can tell you this. The hope is that there was finally some sort of accountability for all this corruption that we just previously mentioned. There was a hope. And then when you see stuff like this, it's deflating. Now, will the charges be refiled? I hope so. I truly hope so.
Yeah.
But right now, we've got a lot of leftists that are screaming from the mountaintop. See, told you.
Yeah.
Told you this was fraught. This was fraught with fraud.
I don't even know, because it's also Comey and Letitia James, and it's all centered around Halligan. So Lindsay Halligan, she gets appointed. The judge says she wasn't lawfully appointed, so I'm going to throw the case out without prejudice, which prejudice means they can bring it back.
Yes.
But if you remember what was going on, everybody was clamoring, indict somebody. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but I'm pretty sure that's when Trump maybe made a Truth Social post kind of critical of Pam Bondi. And then
we need some perp walks or else kind of thing.
I could be wrong here, but I'm just trying to remember the sequence of events. Then he made a post, saying Pam Bondi's got it. Then we had the firing of the U.S. attorney that was refusing to bring the indictment on Comey.
Yeah.
And then they put in Lindsay Halligan at the last second, right before the statute of limitations was set to expire. She got the indictment.
Yeah.
And so for that to be sloppy, or they didn't dot every I. If you're going to bring down somebody like, and I'm assuming, look, they're going to do it doesn't matter if it's fair, unfair. They're going to, if they have an argument they can make as to why they're not going to bring their buddy to justice, they're going to take it every single time.
Sure.
So if you go after these people, you've got to have it all secured.
Yeah,
so
all your ducks got to be in a row.
Is this more egg on Pam Bondi's face here?
I don't know. I think that, well, it would be egg if she didn't sort of foresee it and they just let this be,
Yeah.
And it would be egg if, in fact, that, the liberals who are screaming, victory in all of our comment sections right now, if they are correct in that the statute of limitations has expired on James Comey. I am not an attorney. I am not certainly not a judge. I don't know how that works with statutes of limitation.
Well, that's a great point. But see, the fumbling the ball here could potentially, even if you do bring charges again, even if you do get a conviction, you might be able to appeal based on that.
You and I talked about this on the phone today, and I just said, well, one of the biggest frustrations with it was just that there was finally accountability, right? We all we all thinking, you could see it on the screen there with his smug look, we all think James Comey is a snake, but he's a partisan hack, right? And he made his decisions, based off of his partisanship. And honestly, we owe him a debt of thanks, because there was a growing sense of Comey cost Hillary Clinton the 2016 election.
Oh, when he came out, that is always an interesting
that he was going to reopen.
Yeah, the investigation right
Correct.
before the election.
And it was like, wow, thank you, and to her credit there, or credit or detriment, whatever you want to call it, Hillary Clinton was frustrated. They said on election night she was screaming.
Yeah, James Comey did this to me.
James Comey did this. Yeah, if those reports are to be, so I was, as much as I liked hearing that he was indicted, Letitia James was the one, especially considering the fact that she was indicted for what she accused Trump of and indicted Trump of, right? Which was completely misrepresenting her purchase there when she was trying to purchase a property. And what I've said it on this show and whatever, is that there are no two parcels of land that are the same in real estate. There are no two buildings that are constructed, commercial real estate, that is the same. And if you sit here and tell me that a building, you've got two buildings identical to each other, sitting next to each other, and one has the name Trump on it, and you're trying to tell me that one with Trump on it's not worth more. Okay, you're not living in the real world. You're not living in the real world that a buyer and seller set the price, and a buyer is going to be more willing to pay for something if they feel like they're going to be able to make more money on that. And if you've got a building that was built by Trump and it's got Trump on the name, right? And you go to sell that building is worth more. You cannot convince me differently. Yeah. You're like, oh, well, this comp. And I'm like, nope, If it's got that name on it. And I'm not just saying it's got Donald Trump on it. You go to sell a classic vehicle. We've seen it on Pawn Stars or whatever. You got a classic vehicle.
It once belonged to John Voight.
There you go. Or once
Seinfeld.
Yeah. Or we've seen it too with like what it was like. This was was the car that Elvis Presley drove in one of his movies. Yeah. You mean to tell me that car, because it was owned by Elvis Presley, is not worth more than an exact same car? Right? Same amount of miles, same amount of restoration and all that stuff. So you're just a fool if you just believe that. There's no convincing you because you're so
well. You just don't like the Republic. You don't like Trump,
and you're in that world.
Yeah.
And Letitia James though did what a lot of individuals would do, and that is she misrepresented what she was purchasing, and the fact that she did it, but she went after Trump. And that stupid-ass judge tried to say that Mar-a-Lago was only worth $28 million. And I'm just like, how many people would line up to would write that check for $28 million if you believe that's all Mar-a-Lago is worth? Anyway, we saw that Letitia James, if she gets off scot-free, that's the one that I'm going to be heartbroken about, because the fact that she did exactly what she went after Trump for, and what she went after Trump for was completely baseless, in my opinion. You can say he overvalued these things all you want to, but there was absolutely no victim.
Well, I'll add, kind of the juxtaposition here. I mean, Comey's basically guilty of the same thing as well, if you think about it. If you think that Comey, even though he was charged with lying, which I think is obviously true, but if there's a superseding indictment or Comey does get charged in some grand conspiracy, the conspiracy was to frame Trump for treason, and by participating in the conspiracy to frame Trump for treason, you are the traitor.
Yeah.
Comey is the actual traitor. So it's interesting how those two things align, if you look at it that way, that so many of these people are accusing their enemies of the very thing that they are guilty of.
But we've seen this crap all the time too, Paul. It goes down to every facet of the government here, where you're like, wait a minute, rules for thee, not for me, right? Yeah. Rules for thee, not for me. And we see that with every facet of the government. And we saw a government official with both of them, for sure, but with Letitia James, who said, these rules apply to you. They don't apply to me.
Yeah.
Even though I did something exactly the same and actually worse, because Letitia James being the name on this building has no bearing. But Trump, it does.
Yeah. All right, so in other news, this local story about the Campbell Soup Company. You know, chicken noodle soup. It's supposed to be good for you. You're supposed to have it when you're sick. Campbell Soup Company Vice President Martin Bali was caught on a recording saying their chicken comes from a 3D printer and it's horrible for you. Quote, "We haven't excrement for effing poor people." I'm sorry, we have excrement for effing poor people. I don't effing buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's unhealthy now that I know what the F's in it. Even in a can of soup, bioengineered meat, I don't want to eat an effing piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. And so, well, I'll just let you hear a little bit of it before we comment.
A former Campbell Soup Company employee is taking legal action against the food giant, and he's making some explosive allegations about one of its top executives. Good evening, and thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Those allegations are now at the center of a lawsuit claiming the company's vice president went on an hour-long tirade attacking the company's products and employees before taking aim at its customers.
And the former employee recorded it all. Eric Erickson shares that recording and what the company is saying about it.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit?
And that's just part of an over an hour-long rant, says former security analyst for Campbell's, Robert Garza of Monroe.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's so healthy. Now that I know what the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it, look at meat, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. You?
The recording allegedly of Campbell's VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bali.
He has no filter.
Bali, along with another supervisor and Campbell Soup Company, named in a lawsuit filed Thursday. The suit claiming Bali made racist remarks, admits to coming to work high, and Garza fired for coming forward.
What do you think about the things that he was saying?
Oh, just pure disgust.
Garza says he usually worked remotely for Campbell's headquarters, based in Camden, New Jersey. But thinking he'd be discussing his salary with Bali, he says the recording taken in person at a restaurant.
They couldn't think for the I'm like, you dumb
Garza says he felt sick after the rant, deciding to go to his direct supervisor in January.
So, okay, he went, complained about his boss, and then was fired for it. But he recorded, but he's got all this, and so now that he's, this is a scorned employee, right? But the big story here, I mean, this is why it's taken off on right-wing Twitter, is the bioengineered 3D printed meat. And then you think, okay, if that's true, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I mean, this guy was high up. I mean, he's sitting there saying, I don't eat my own products that I sell. How many more products? How many more products are we eating that are actually grown in a lab and are not from an actual animal? And what are the health consequences? And the answer is we don't know.
Paul, I've eaten chicken noodle soup from Campbell's a million times in my life. I have questioned whether that was actually chicken before.
You have? Okay.
Okay, because it doesn't taste like chicken.
No,
it just
kind of crumbles in your mouth.
It just kind of crumbles in your mouth, and you're just like, okay, wait a minute. Shouldn't I get some chicken? Like, chicken has a taste. I mean, if you're eating chicken, you know it's chicken.
Yeah.
That just tastes like cardboard, and it always has. But, it's one of those accepted things. Like
I don't know. I don't know. Has it always? I haven't had a can of chicken noodle soup from Campbell's or in forever. I can't. But I remember as a kid thinking this was really good.
I don't know. I mean, I remember eating it when I was a kid, and maybe somebody will tell us in the comments here. Like, do you think that the chicken in Campbell's chicken noodle soup sound or taste like
has
chicken?
It always been chicken? I mean, surely. I mean, the 3D printed meat thing. That's
Well, that would be
fairly
relative.
new.
Well, it
so-
would be, except that 3D printers have been out for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
So it would be one of those things. Like, how do you 3D print though? But how do you 3D print meat?
There's I don't know. There's apparently some way to do it. You'd think you'd have to grow it.
Well,
but I don't know.
I would imagine that it would be much cheaper.
Yeah.
Than actually putting chicken in it. That's my thing. And so it would not shock me whatsoever if a company, a big, huge company.
Oh, I think we lost your camera.
Oh, did we lose my camera?
Yeah, I just looked down and your camera's frozen.
Oh, I'm frozen. Oh, man. Well, that's okay.
We've got.
You know what? Just take it off of me, and I'll just give you my comment.
No. I mean, but we've got a bonus. You can just, if you switch sides there, we'll be good to go.
Okay.
Because the other camera's good to go. But so what I will do is I'll get to the next story, because the next story is very strange. You're still frozen on the screen though. That's gonna be okay. I'm gonna let me fix something real quick while Rob swaps places real quick, and we'll do that. Okay, cool. So now we have it going. Anyway, so the next story is that according to Attorney General James Uthmeyer, that there's a Florida law right now that actually bans lab-grown meat. Our Consumer Protection Division is now launching an investigation and will demand answers from Campbell's. Okay, so there's that. And then we have I put these stories together because I just thought it was too creepy. If you want to, we were just talking about how do you 3D print a piece of meat. This robot is so scary. They have made a flesh-like robot.
Oh man, I can see where this is going.
I want you to watch this
We're
video.
looking at Oscar, the first human modular prototype that is able to live in various setups. Connect the brain to the heart modules to activate the blood circulation.
Look at this.
Now, the lung is going to start breathing. You can see both organs are now collaborating. I can add a kidney module.
It looks like a piece of
and if I add a limb
raw
module,
meat. Watch this. He
they
adds
start actuating the organism
foot.
to move. Now it's looking for the optimum temperature, which is 37 degrees. If I add another limb, Oscar will recognize it and beneficiate from new possibilities.
Sound it makes. And now it's like a chicken wing. That's probably what's in Campbell's soup right there, folks.
What the hell did I just watch, Paul?
That's probably what's in Campbell's soup right
Seriously,
there.
man. Seriously. Where the hell did you find this?
It just came up in my feed.
Look.
It came up in my feed.
It's just, oh my gosh.
So anyway, transhumanism is bad. We need to avoid that at all costs.
Okay, so you and I just know. I mean, we've already seen this with these AI robots.
Yeah,
we've seen where this is going, and what I've seen, Paul, is that let's just say a man who's gets divorced. And he's just like, my wife was a nag. She was this or that. She was whatever. I'm going to go get one of these AI robots.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to program her to not, do this or that or whatever.
Nag. I'm going to program an anti-nagging.
No nagging
AI robot
on this stuff. Right. And she's going to clean the house and all of that stuff. But we're like, that's where we're going with this stuff. If you can just like hit some buttons on your screen, and you can throw these chicken parts on the plate, and all of a sudden, boom! You've engineered this, and it's like flapping in the wind. Why can't you put it in a can of soup?
I think I agree. And if that thing could talk, it would be saying, "Kill me." It was literally, if this thing could talk, folks. No.
Oscar will recognize it.
Kill me.
And beneficiate from new possibilities.
It's like something out of that Total Recall movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. That's the truth, and I can just tell you, I'm gonna have nightmares tonight.
I'm sorry.
That chicken.
I'm sorry.
And its arms flailing like that.
I'm sorry.
For the love of, like, get it off the screen.
Yeah, I know.
Get it off.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
Like, let's.
Okay, this was meant for my black pill confession earlier.
Okay.
But so Homeland Security, they obviously have people working for them, posting on Twitter, that sort of thing. Although it's really weird. They claim it was a glitch, but I think it was Homeland Security.
Okay.
Twitter unveiled this new. They unveiled this new way to track country of origin, like where your account was founded.
That's been fantastic.
And the Homeland Security page, when it first came out, it was Israel. And then they said, "Oh, that was a glitch," and they took it away. And then it was anyway. But so they got these.
They called Elon. That's what they did.
And so that explain it. How do you explain it?
It's the Jews.
But the Homeland Security, I've been posting a lot of banger memes. Okay. And this is the one they posted recently. Watch this real quick. Just going to stop real quick. They could have picked it. There's a lot of people that think this statue that was created after George Washington lived or died is a satanic statue. I'm just pointing that out.
What?
Yeah, there's a goat statue that does the same thing with their hands. But anyway, not getting too conspiratorial. That's not the point of this. All right. I'm sorry. I
don't want to dovetail here.
I'm jotting and tittling here. Just I apologize. So, obviously, they posted the last best hope of man on earth. And, there was a lot of pro-America things there, George Washington things there, Donald Trump things there. Obviously, that's not accurate theologically in any way, shape, or form, okay? But this is how the left is seeing this, okay? They're seeing this as basically the end of the world. Okay, and that's why this post kind of blackpilled me. Yeah. He says, really can't stress this enough. The kids posting from these government accounts are going to get us all killed if Trump doesn't go full Reconstruction 2.0. All they're doing is fueling the revenge crusade the left is plotting if they ever come back to power. And I think
I don't know that he's wrong there.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not meaning to blackpill.
Yeah,
but that is what's going to happen in the future if we get all talk and no action.
That was one of the weirdest videos I've ever seen, too. And it's like, all right, well, is your marketing are you taking the approach of I'm trying to bring people to us, right? Or is it the big middle finger to the left? And if you are the leader of the free world, if you are the party that is in power of all the chambers, right? The presidency, not the chambers, but of Congress. If you're in charge of all of Congress, then what should your messaging be? In my opinion, it should be to bring others to the fold, right? And we need to think about 2026 midterms. We need to think about the 2028 election, all of that. And right now, what we have is all of this is middle finger to the left, and I just don't think that's a winning message.
Yeah,
that's our job, Paul. That's our job. Our job is to take shots at the left. The administration, like I understand Donald Trump, he's a puncher, and if he gets punched at, like he's going to punch back. Get it? I'm totally fine with that. Like that's when he's at his best. But should the people behind the scenes? Should the to this point, like these 20-year-olds running these social media accounts, should they be punching the way Donald Trump is punching, or should they be trying to bring people to the fold?
Yeah, I don't know, but just basically, Marjorie Taylor Greene there's been more consequences geared towards her than Adam Schiff.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Which I'm
BS.
fine if you don't like MTG or whatever. I get it. Like nobody's perfect. If you have amicably you disagree or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe I've been hearing some rumors that maybe MTG is going to be facing some investigations. I don't know. I don't know. I've just heard all that. I'm going to wait and see what happens. But the base is seeing all of this as well. And I will just reiterate, the last best hope of man on earth is actually Jesus Christ. He's in heaven, but I just want to reiterate that before we
I completely agree. And I know we're at the end of the time here, but that's very frustrating. And I agree with you. If Adam Schiff is getting less pushback from the president than Marjorie Taylor Greene, then we've got a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all the time that we have for this edition of the show. Thanks so much for being with us. Make sure wherever you're watching this, like, share, subscribe. We really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to go follow us over on TikTok. Somehow we're still on the platform, but you can catch our shorts and stuff like that there. I want to thank our sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, T-Guard Bail Bonds. Make sure to call Cody Powers if you're ever getting into trouble, and Sherrod Chiropractic. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.